gosh, look at the crowd.
Come this way.
Those who spread goodness radiate happiness to everyone around them. Introducing LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
Welcome to LMDtv. I'm Ashwini Vethakan, and joining us this week on Talking Business is the CEO of Hutch, Thirukumar Nadarasa. Welcome to the show, Thirukumar. It's good to have you with us.
Thank you very much.
Our first question for this evening, Thirukumar, is what were the effects of the pandemic on the telecommunications industry? And what initiatives were taken to overcome these challenges?
Yes, as we know, the pandemic came upon us in March last year suddenly, and with that sudden surge in the lockdowns, a lot of people were stuck at home. And when they were stuck at home, they started using their phones much more, and we saw a 50% increase in data traffic, suddenly in a few months' time. So that kind of caught us by surprise, because obviously we're not designed for that kind of sudden increase. But I think we've also done a lot of initiatives to support the people in lockdown. One of the other problems is in Sri Lanka, 90% of our mobile customers are still prepaid. So they need to go out once in a while to recharge their phones, which you can't do in a lockdown. So, that problem also had to be solved. So we did a lot of initiatives to help people make sure they have enough top-up. We work with the officially open channels like the pharmacies, the post office, door-to-door delivery companies to make sure that they also delivered or made available top-ups. We also made available free airtime for customers to make sure their phone was switched on and had credit. We gave airtime loans with no fees, and also we encouraged online internet banking top-ups. So we did a lot of these initiatives to make sure that people at home stayed connected, even with the increase in traffic.
In your opinion, how does the current situation of the economy affect the forecast of 5G services?
5G is another technology investment. It's a massive investment. It's a major investment, and when we make technology investments like 3G, 4G, 5G, we normally take a 5-10 year horizon. So it's a long-term investment. So we don't just look at today's economy. We look at the economy over the next 5 years, how it will develop. So we feel that as the country develops, there will be a need for 5G, particularly to attract more foreign investment, because they will also be looking to see if the country has 5G connectivity for the development of new industries and services. So I think 5G will come over the next few years to support the economic growth.
With the theme for Internet Day 2021, which was a virtual event organized by the Ministry of Technology, State Ministry of Education Reforms, Open Universities and Distance Learning Programs being digital inclusion, what initiatives do you think Sri Lanka has in place to actually achieve digital inclusion?
I think it's it's a very appropriate theme. I think that we've been trying to address over the last few years. There is still this digital divide. 50% of the people in Sri Lanka are still not accessing internet, and it's no coincidence that 50% of mobile customers, we have 100% mobile penetration, but only 50% of mobile customers even have a smartphone to access internet. So there is definitely a digital divide that needs to be addressed, and I think it's important that the telecom industry do their part to help and facilitate this. One thing we're doing is to make sure that we expand our broadband coverage to all parts of the country. Today there are 4 international investors in the telecom industry, all working together to expand coverage nationwide, so that everyone in Sri Lanka can have access to the internet and data. I think the government has also started a new initiative called the Gamata Sanavediya. It's a TRC initiative where we are deploying towers into uneconomic regions where normally there may not be enough population to support a tower, but working together with the government and the TRC and the Director General, we are trying to find ways to deploy towers there to give access to even the remote people, so they can also connect to the internet. So we're doing a lot of work here. The other factor is that we have to also make it more affordable. Although Sri Lanka today has one of the lowest tariffs in the world, we're in the top 20 lowest tariffs in the world, still, particularly for the rural areas, it is still a costly exercise. So we need to find innovative solutions to make internet connectivity more affordable to people as well. There's no point giving access, but then it's not affordable, then it defeats the purpose of the exercise, you know.
Thirukumar, Gen Z is now disrupting the marketplace, and with this generation now entering the workforce, what are the initiatives you believe the industry is taking to meet their needs?
Generation Z is essentially maybe the first generation to essentially live their entire life online, you know, entire life, work, social, everything. So they will be living their life online, and as such, it's very important that the telecom industry provide a very reliable and affordable connectivity to this generation wherever they are, so that they can continue to develop. Also, companies where they'll one day working also needs to be digitally connected, because this generation Z will also be doing digital jobs, because that's their life. So it's important that these companies are also digitally connected, and the telecom industry must facilitate this and make sure that digital infrastructure and the digital highway is in place, you know, for this generation to develop and grow.
And on that note, we'll be going in for a short break. Welcome back to the show as we continue our conversation with the CEO of Hutch, Thirukumar Nadarasa. Thirukumar, according to a recent survey by VPN provider Surfshark, Sri Lanka was ranked the worst amongst 85 other countries. How do you foresee the industry rising to this challenge?
Yes, we've seen that report by Surfshark, and it's quite unfortunate because that particular report covers the COVID period of last year, and they incorporated the impact of COVID into the network quality characteristics, which is a short-term issue, but it kind of clouded the rankings. So I think, you know, we'll have to wait for the next edition of the Surfshark report post-COVID to see really what is the quality of our service. But thing is, you know, historically, you know, as I said earlier, you know, Sri Lanka has been has benefited by having 4 large international investors investing in the infrastructure here. And I believe, you know, over the last few years, Sri Lanka has had the best service, internet service or telecom service in the region, and also at a more affordable rate. So I believe that we have very good infrastructure in place. It's just unfortunate that in this period, the COVID factor kind of, you know, clouded the rankings. But I hope that the next edition will show us in a much better light.
How prepared do you think Sri Lanka is to embrace a digital economy? And what do you think we as a nation need to do to ensure that we get there?
I believe we're well positioned. You know, we're well positioned, you know, to develop this new digital economy. The most important thing you need is the resource, the human resource. And I believe Sri Lanka has the resource, the human resource available to really develop this technology. The government is also developing and pushing hard on e-government and other areas to really digitize all government departments and services. So I think they're also pushing very hard on the initiative. So we have, I think, the government intent, we have the human resources, and also I believe we have the digital infrastructure in place today to really leverage and let other sectors of the economy digitize and develop the new digital economy.
Our final question for this evening is, what are the next generation experiences that consumers can look forward to from the telecommunication industry?
I think the people are already benefiting from the deployment of 3G and 4G services. These are also broadband technologies, and they're giving very good experiences today. And of course, the next experience will be the deployment of 5G. 5G essentially will be a faster version of 4G. There's nothing dramatically different. It's just going to be a faster version, a faster car than 4G. It'll be faster and with lower latency. But 5G technology will also allow the development of industries, new industries that need faster speed and lower latency. And I think that will also spur, you know, the development of all these new technologies and industries in Sri Lanka once we deploy 5G.
And that's all the time we have for this segment. Thank you for joining us this evening, Thirukumar.
Pleasure. Thank you very much for coming this evening.
Coming up, we have a roundup of local news. Stay tuned.
You love the feeling of being renewed. To stay beautiful every single day. To breathe just like we do. Because you are truly delicate. Protecting the ones who've been with us through the years. With Sayalac Care, the only wood coating that truly protects you. Sayalac Wood Coatings from JAT.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Ashwini Vethakan and here's a roundup of local news. The Commissioner General of the Department of Registration of Persons recently stated that it has suspended all services related to issuing national identity cards under its one-day scheme. This decision was taken following the recommendation of the Health Ministry to prevent the spread of COVID-19 and due to the public failing to follow mandated health guidelines within the premises. A national program providing turmeric plants to every home garden recently commenced under the patronage of the President. 5 turmeric plants will be distributed to each family, covering a total of 1.4 million households through this project. The President planted a turmeric sapling in his own home garden to symbolize the official launch of this endeavor. The police spokesperson has issued a strict warning against people who circulate false information on social media. This followed the recent probe launched by the Criminal Investigation Department or CID into the fake news that claimed that an island-wide curfew is expected to come into effect until 17th May. He noted that instigators circulating such misleading information will be apprehended. In another case, the police spokesperson revealed that 4 suspects have been arrested by the CID for withdrawing 43 million from a private sector bank soon after the festive season after producing forged checks in the name of a company manufacturing steel rods. The State Minister of Indigenous Medicine Promotion, Rural and Ayurveda Hospital Development and Community Health told the media that permission has been granted to utilize Ayurveda hospitals to treat coronavirus patients. Accordingly, the hospitals in Rajagiriya, Navin and Pallakele have been permitted to commence treating COVID-19 patients, and those directed to these facilities will be provided with Ayurvedic indigenous medicines. The chairman of the Civil Aviation Authority says that airlines have been informed to limit their passengers to Sri Lanka to 75% per aircraft due to the prevailing COVID-19 situation. He stated that this will be in effect for 2 weeks from the 3rd of May. On the topic of international travel, it seems certain countries have taken measures to restrict Sri Lankan tourist arrivals for the time being. Long-term pass holders and short-term visitors who have been in Sri Lanka in the last 2 weeks will no longer be allowed to enter or transit through Singapore. Additionally, Italy extended a 15-day restriction on people coming from Sri Lanka along with travels from other European countries. And that's all we have for this week. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you for watching and stay safe.